If balancing your sugar levels feels like a constant struggle, or diabetes worries keep you up at night, Glucose 6 is the solution you've been searching for. Thousands transformed, healthier lives achieved. Glucose 6, a one-of-a-kind product, has changed the lives of thousands, helping them achieve better blood sugar levels and healthier lives. Glucose 6, your solution to balanced sugar levels. Order now for a healthier tomorrow.
If you want to learn more about this powerful formula that is transforming the health of men and women over 50, check the first pinned comment below this video. Or pause the video now and point your phone's camera at the QR code on the screen.
In old age, traveling is synonymous with freedom and new experiences. However, to make the most of it, it is essential to consider the challenges that the body may face. Small, unforeseen events can turn into big problems without proper planning. And 70, the mind remains curious, but the body demands more attention. A sleepless night or a meal at an unusual time can cause unexpected issues. Additionally, unforeseen events happen. A delayed flight can mean a long period without proper rest. A different meal can cause discomfort, and even a simple walk can become a challenge without the right planning. Yet, the desire to travel doesn't need to be set aside. The secret, too, enjoying every moment without major worries lies in understanding the risks and taking measures to avoid them. While many people focus only on the obvious challenges, such as mobility difficulties and the need for health insurance, there are hidden dangers that can make traveling in old age riskier than one might imagine. Today's seniors are not like those of the past. They want to enjoy life, explore new places, and create memorable experiences. But to do this safely, it is crucial to pay attention to details that often go unnoticed. Some risks may seem small, but they can have a significant impact when combined. From blood sugar fluctuations that can lead to serious complications to financial risks that cause many to lose money in scams, the challenges are diverse and deserve attention. In this video, we will explore 7 hidden dangers that make traveling after 70 riskier. If you have traveled a lot throughout your life, you may be surprised to realize that what seemed simple before now requires more care. And if you are planning a trip for an elderly family member, this information will be essential to ensure everything goes smoothly. The goal here is not to scare, but to prepare. Traveling can still be one of life's best experiences, as long as it is done responsibly and with awareness. With proper planning, simple adjustments, and a bit more attention, it is possible to minimize risks and ensure that the trip is enjoyable from start to finish. Many people only realize these challenges when they are already facing a problem at the airport, on an unfamiliar road, or in a hotel far from home. But when you know what to expect, you can anticipate and avoid unpleasant situations. Therefore, if you are over 70 and love to travel, or if you have a loved one who refuses to give up exploring the world, stay with me until the end. By the end of this video, you will be much better prepared to plan safe trips, avoiding complications that could turn a dream vacation into a frustrating experience. And pay attention. The first danger on the list may seem harmless, but it has a silent impact on health and can lead to serious complications. It is related to something many seniors face daily, but which becomes even more critical during a trip. You may not have thought about it before, but after understanding the risks, you will never ignore this detail when planning your next adventures. Danger 1. Blood sugar fluctuations and the risk of complications. Traveling is synonymous with change. Changes in routine, diet, climate, and time zones. For many people, these changes are just minor details, but for those over 70, especially those living with diabetes or prediabetes, they can represent a significant risk. Blood sugar fluctuations are dangerous at any age, but in old age, their effects can be even more unpredictable. The body becomes less efficient at controlling glucose. Going too long without eating or changing your diet can cause dizziness and dangerous falls. And the truth is, during a trip, maintaining a regular eating schedule can be a major challenge. Imagine the following situation. An elderly person boards a long-haul flight. In their daily life, they have well-established times for eating and taking their medication. But on the plane, the meal service takes longer than expected. The food served is different from what they are used to, and without realizing it, they go many hours without eating properly. The result? A sudden drop in blood sugar levels, which can cause tremors, excessive sweating, dizziness, and in more severe cases, even fainting or mental confusion. The problem is not just about lack of food. The opposite is also dangerous. Many tourist destinations are known for their exotic cuisine, and it is natural for travelers to want to try new dishes. What many don't realize is that some of these foods may have a high glycemic index, causing a rapid rise in blood sugar. And when this happens, the body enters a dangerous cycle of blood sugar spikes and crashes that can result in serious complications. Additionally, another factor that makes this risk even greater is the difficulty of accessing immediate medical care. If an elderly person becomes ill due to severe hypoglycemia in a location where medical assistance is not readily available, the situation can quickly worsen. The same applies to prolonged hyperglycemia, which can lead to dehydration, extreme fatigue, and even hyperosmolar crises, requiring hospitalization. So, how to avoid this danger? First, meal planning should start even before the trip. For those with diabetes or any type of blood sugar issue, it is essential to consult a doctor before traveling. The professional can adjust medication if necessary and provide guidance on strategies to keep blood sugar levels under control during the trip. Another key point is to always carry appropriate snacks. Small packs of nuts, sugar-free protein bars, low glycemic fruits, and whole grain crackers are good options to avoid long periods without eating. Additionally, it is important to carry a glucose meter and test strips to regularly check blood sugar levels. For air travel, an important tip is to inform the airline about your health condition when making the reservation. Many companies offer special meals for diabetics, and this can make all the difference during long flights. It is also essential to always have an action plan in case of a crisis. Know where to find pharmacies, know the local emergency number, and, if possible, travel with a companion who is aware of the situation. Another detail many forget is hydration. Keeping the body hydrated is crucial for blood sugar control, as dehydration can worsen hyperglycemia symptoms. During the trip, it is essential to drink water regularly and avoid sugary or alcoholic beverages, which can further disrupt blood sugar levels. Traveling in old age can and should be a pleasurable experience, but it requires careful attention to detail. Blood sugar control is often overlooked, but it can make all the difference in the safety and well-being of the elderly. Small precautions can prevent major problems and ensure that the trip is remembered for the good experiences, not for unnecessary scares. Danger 2. Dehydration and its impact on health. Dehydration is a silent but dangerous problem, especially for those over 70. During a trip, the routine changes completely, and it is easy to forget to drink enough water. But what few realize is that in old age, the body no longer has the same capacity to store and regulate fluids as before, making the lack of hydration an even greater risk. The first problem is that seniors feel less thirsty. As we age, the brain's thirst control mechanism becomes less efficient, causing many people to go long periods without drinking fluids without realizing it. Now imagine this scenario during a trip: hours on a plane with dry air, long walks under the sun in an unfamiliar city, or simply a busy day of sightseeing where stopping to drink water seems secondary. Without realizing it, the body enters a state of progressive dehydration, and the first symptoms can be mistaken for normal fatigue. Dehydration in the elderly can cause dizziness, extreme fatigue, mental confusion, and even fainting. And the worst part? These signs can be mistakenly attributed to travel fatigue, when in fact the body is suffering from a lack of fluids. When hydration is below what is necessary, the blood becomes thicker, making circulation more difficult. and increasing the risk of heart problems and thrombosis. On long flights, this risk intensifies, as immobility for many hours combined with dehydration can lead to the formation of dangerous blood clots, such as deep vein thrombosis. Another serious problem is the impact on the kidneys. The body needs water to eliminate toxins, and when fluid intake is low, the kidneys become overloaded. For an elderly person, this can trigger kidney failure and even recurrent urinary tract infections, which can develop into serious conditions. Many people believe that drinking less water during a trip can be a way to avoid frequent bathroom visits, especially on long flights or sightseeing trips. But this decision can cost dearly in terms of health. Temperature also influences this risk. Trips to very hot destinations can lead to increased sweating and fluid loss without the person realizing it. In cold places, the problem is the opposite. The feeling of thirst is even less, and many people simply forget to drink water. In both cases, the result can be a dangerous state of severe dehydration. So, how to avoid this risk? The first step is to create a habit of conscious hydration. At home, many people drink water only when they feel thirsty. But during a trip, it is essential to adopt a schedule. Always carry a water bottle and remember to take small sips throughout the day, even without feeling the need. Another strategy is to avoid beverages that contribute to dehydration. Coffee, black tea, and alcoholic beverages increase fluid loss in the body, further aggravating the problem. For those who enjoy a glass of wine during the trip or a coffee in the morning, it is ideal to always compensate with increased water intake. Additionally, water-rich fruits such as watermelon, oranges, and melons can be important allies in maintaining hydration. Opting for broths and soups also helps ensure the body receives enough fluids, especially in cold places where the desire to drink water may be lower. For those traveling by plane, it is essential to drink water before, during, and after the flight. Many airlines offer free beverages, and accepting a glass of water whenever possible is a good practice. If necessary, bring your own bottle and ask the flight attendants to refill it during the flight. Dehydration can turn a peaceful trip into a draining and dangerous experience. What starts as mild discomfort can evolve into more severe symptoms that require medical attention and can compromise the entire trip planning. Fortunately, this is an easy problem to avoid. Just be attentive and create the habit of drinking fluids regularly, ensuring the body is always well hydrated. Danger. 3. Medical emergencies and access to treatment. A trip can be an incredible experience, full of new discoveries and unforgettable moments. But for an elderly person, a simple health issue can turn everything into a nightmare. Medical emergencies happen when we least expect them, and being far from home without immediate access to proper treatment can make the situation even worse. After 70, the body becomes more vulnerable to sudden health complications. Problems such as high blood pressure, cardiac arrhythmias, respiratory crises, and even simple infections can become serious emergencies. A mild discomfort can quickly escalate into a critical condition if there is no medical assistance available. And the worst part, many people only realize the severity of the situation when they are already in the middle of a trip, not knowing where to seek help. Now, imagine. An elderly person feels chest pain in another country. Without knowing where the hospital is, and without valid insurance, they lose valuable time. Simple planning could avoid this risk. This is a more common reality than one might think. Many elderly people travel without a defined emergency plan, trusting that everything will go well. But unforeseen events happen, and when it comes to health, being prepared can make all the difference. The first step to avoid this danger is to have a checkup before the trip. Consulting a doctor to assess your health condition and check for any imminent risks is essential. If necessary, adjustments to medication or specific care may be recommended to avoid problems during the trip. Another Key point is choosing travel insurance. Many elderly people believe that their health plan covers any situation. But the truth is that most medical insurances are not valid internationally. This means that if a problem arises outside the country, the elderly person may have to pay high costs to receive care. Adequate travel insurance should cover medical emergencies, hospitalizations, exams, and, if necessary, evacuation to a specialized hospital. Additionally, before boarding, it is important to research the destination's healthcare system, knowing where the main hospitals are, understanding how local medical care works, and always having an action plan can prevent panic in critical moments. Some countries offer free public health services for tourists, while others require immediate payment before even providing care. Being aware of these differences can make all the difference. Another essential precaution is to carry an emergency kit with basic medications. Many people trust that they can buy medicines at the destination, but differences in legislation and medication availability can make access difficult. Having painkillers, anti-inflammatories, fever medications, blood pressure medications, and any ongoing medication with you avoids inconvenience if it is difficult to find a pharmacy quickly. If the trip is to a remote location, such as rural areas or isolated regions, extra attention is required. In these cases, it is essential to know where medical care is available and plan for quick transportation in case of an emergency. For elderly people traveling alone, having a means of communication always available is also essential. A phone with active roaming or a local SIM card can ensure that, in case of need, it is possible to call for help without difficulty. Traveling in old age is a wonderful experience, but it requires caution. Medical emergencies can happen at any moment, and being prepared to deal with them can be the difference between a controlled scare and an irreversible situation. Danger. 4. Exposure to infections and foreign diseases. Airports, planes, hotels, restaurants, public transportation. Places that are part of any trip, but that also represent an invisible danger. Exposure to viruses, bacteria, and unknown diseases. For a healthy young person, a flu or food poisoning may be just a passing inconvenience. But for an elderly person, especially those with lower immunity, a simple infection can become a major health problem. The immune system weakens with age. This means the body has more difficulty fighting diseases, making common infections, such as colds, flu, and gastrointestinal infections, much more dangerous. Additionally, many destinations have bacteria and viruses different from those the body is already familiar with. This means that when traveling to another country, the elderly person may be exposed to microorganisms for which their body has no natural defenses, increasing the chances of getting sick. Contamination can occur in various ways. The simple act of touching doorknobs, handrails, elevator buttons, or airplane trays can be enough to come into contact with viruses and bacteria. Additionally, planes are closed environments where hundreds of people share the same air for hours, facilitating the transmission of respiratory diseases. Another serious risk is food. Trying local cuisine is one of the great pleasures of traveling, but for an elderly person, consuming poorly sanitized food or unfiltered water can lead to severe gastrointestinal infections. Problems such as food poisoning and infections caused by bacteria like E. coli and Salmonella can be especially dangerous, leading to rapid dehydration and the need for hospitalization. And it's not just common diseases that pose a danger. In some destinations, there are specific risks such as yellow fever, dengue, malaria, and hepatitis. Without proper protection, a simple outing can result in a serious infection, compromising not only the trip but also long-term health. So, how to minimize this risk? The first step is prevention. Before traveling, it is essential to check if the destination requires or recommends specific vaccines. Many countries require proof of yellow fever vaccination, for example, and this immunization should be done in advance. Additionally, flu and pneumonia vaccines are essential for the elderly, as they significantly reduce the risk of complications in case of contamination. Another important precaution is personal hygiene. Washing hands frequently with soap and water, or carrying hand sanitizer is essential to reduce the risk of contagion. During flights and train or bus trips, avoiding touching your face without first sanitizing your hands can be the difference between returning home healthy or facing an infection. As for food, extra caution is needed. It is ideal to always choose reliable restaurants and avoid raw or questionable foods. Fruits and vegetables should only be consumed if washed with potable water, and the general recommendation is to avoid ice and tap water in places where water quality is not guaranteed. In countries where there is a risk of mosquito-borne diseases, such as dengue and malaria, the use of repellents and clothing that covers the body is essential. Additionally, avoiding high-risk areas, especially during critical hours, can significantly reduce exposure to these diseases. Finally, carrying an emergency kit with basic medications for fever, pain, and gastrointestinal issues can help manage mild symptoms without needing to rush to a hospital. However, if symptoms are more severe or persist for more than 24 hours, seeking medical attention should be a priority. Traveling is a wonderful experience, but it requires caution. For an elderly person, exposure to infections can be a serious risk, and taking preventive measures is essential to ensure the trip is enjoyed without health surprises. Danger 5. Extreme fatigue and recovery issues. Traveling is exciting, but it can also be exhausting. In youth, a sleepless night, a full day of sightseeing, or even a different time zone were challenges easily overcome. But after 70, the body no longer recovers as quickly, and extreme fatigue can turn a dream trip into a draining and frustrating experience. The problem is not just about common fatigue. When an elderly person faces prolonged exhaustion, their immunity drops, motor coordination is impaired, and the mind loses focus, increasing the risk of falls, forgetfulness, and even cardiovascular problems. For those who already have conditions such as high blood pressure or heart disease, physical exhaustion can become a trigger for medical emergencies. The impact of fatigue is amplified by various factors during a trip. The change in routine is one of them. Irregular sleep schedules, long waits at airports, lengthy commutes, and full days of sightseeing leave the body overloaded. For an elderly person, this overload can take days or even weeks to recover from. Another critical factor is sleep deprivation. Sleeping in a different bed, dealing with unfamiliar noises, or adjusting to a new time zone can make proper rest difficult. Jet lag, which for younger people may be resolved in 2 or 3 days, can persist for a week or more in the elderly, making the first days of the trip extremely tiring. Physical exertion also plays an important role. Climbing stairs, walking long distances, carrying luggage, and dealing with lines are activities that may seem simple, but demand a lot from the body. For an elderly person who is not used to these efforts, accumulated fatigue can result in muscle pain, joint inflammation, and a slower recovery than expected. Additionally, inadequate nutrition during the trip can worsen the situation. Many elderly people end up skipping meals due to the rush or consuming less nutritious foods, resulting in low energy and difficulty recovering from physical exhaustion. Lack of hydration, as already mentioned, also contributes to fatigue, making the body even slower to recover. So, how to minimize this problem and ensure the trip does not become a burden? The first step is respecting the body's limits. Many people want to make the most of every moment of the trip, but packing the schedule with intense activities can be a mistake. The ideal is to alternate sightseeing with moments of rest, allowing the body time to recover. Another essential point is planning transportation wisely. Opting for comfortable transport, choosing well-located accommodations to avoid long walks, and avoiding excessive travel on the same day can make all the difference. For sleep, Adapting to the new environment as quickly as possible helps reduce the effects of jet lag. Maintaining regular sleep times, avoiding caffeine at night, and creating a dark and quiet environment in the room are practices that help the body adjust more easily. Nutrition also needs attention. Prioritizing meals rich in protein, fruits, and vegetables ensures the body receives the necessary nutrients to recover more quickly. Avoiding heavy meals before bed and maintaining constant hydration also help with overall energy levels. Finally, a valuable tip: travel at your own pace. There is no need to rush to see everything at once. The experience should be enjoyable, not a marathon. Stopping to rest when needed, opting for more relaxed outings, and allowing yourself moments of pause can make all the difference in the quality of the trip. When extreme fatigue sets in, it not only reduces the enjoyment of the experience, but can also lead to greater risks, such as falls, disorientation, and cardiovascular problems. Traveling should be a pleasure, not an exhausting challenge. By adjusting small details in planning, it is possible to avoid this problem and ensure every moment is enjoyed to the fullest. Danger 6. Risk of falls and fractures. A small stumble may be nothing for a young person, but for an elderly person, a fall can change everything. The risk of falls increases significantly after 70, and during a trip where everything is new and unfamiliar, this danger becomes even greater. Walking on uneven streets, climbing and descending stairs, carrying luggage, and even entering and exiting public transportation are situations that can become unexpected traps. The problem starts with the natural changes in the body. As we age, reflexes slow down, balance becomes less stable, and bone density decreases, increasing the likelihood of fractures. Additionally, many people over 70 take medications that can affect coordination, such as blood pressure, anxiety, or sleep medications. Now, imagine this situation. An elderly person travels to a destination with cobblestone streets and uneven sidewalks. They are excited to explore the place, but when they take a wrong step, they slip and fall. The impact results in a hip fracture, one of the most common and dangerous in this age group. What was supposed to be a leisure trip turns into a rush to the hospital, with hospitalization, surgery, and a long recovery period. This scenario may seem extreme, but it happens more often than one might think. Many tourist cities do not have adequate infrastructure for the elderly, and not all hotels or restaurants offer accessibility. The simple act of getting out of a taxi or walking to a tourist spot can become a challenge. Additionally, haste and fatigue also increase the risk. After a full day of sightseeing, fatigue can affect motor coordination, making a simple step a real danger. The same applies to rushed movements. Tripping over luggage, missing a step on the hotel stairs, or slipping in the bathroom can be serious accidents. So, what can be done to avoid this type of problem? The first step is choosing the right footwear. Many elderly people still wear old shoes with worn-out soles and little grip. The ideal is to invest in non-slip, comfortable shoes with good foot support. Another crucial point is planning mobility well. Before traveling, it is important to check if the destination offers adequate accessibility. Choosing hotels with elevators, avoiding outings with very uneven terrain, and ensuring safe transportation are fundamental precautions. Additionally, the use of canes or walkers for those who already have balance difficulties can be a great ally. Many people resist using these tools, believing they are a sign of weakness, but in reality, they are tools that ensure autonomy and safety. Maintaining a lighter pace during the trip is also essential. Taking frequent breaks, avoiding long periods standing, and not rushing between outings helps reduce the risk of falls due to fatigue. Haste is the enemy of safety, and for an elderly person, every movement should be made with attention and caution. Finally, it is essential to have an emergency plan. Knowing where the nearest hospital is, having travel insurance that covers falls and fractures, and always Traveling with someone who can help in case of unforeseen events are indispensable precautions. The risk of falls is one of the greatest hidden dangers for the elderly during trips. A moment of carelessness can result in months of recovery and limitations. But with planning, attention, and small adjustments in how you travel, this danger can be significantly reduced, ensuring the experience is safe and enjoyable. Now, in addition to physical risks, there is another danger that can cause enormous losses and turn a peaceful trip into a real nightmare. It does not affect health, but rather the wallet, and often the elderly are the preferred targets. Danger 7. Financial scams and money. Risks traveling is an enriching experience, but it can also be a moment of vulnerability, especially for the elderly. Unfortunately, scammers around the world know this and take advantage of distraction, lack of familiarity with the environment, and excessive trust to commit fraud that can result in significant financial losses. What should be a peaceful trip can turn into a nightmare when you realize the money is gone or that a scam has been pulled. The elderly are often the preferred targets of these criminals. This happens for several reasons. Many carry cash to avoid problems with cards, tend to trust those around them, and in some cases are not familiar with modern scams, such as card cloning or digital fraud. Additionally, when in an unfamiliar environment, they may have difficulty noticing danger signs and acting quickly to avoid losses. There are various types of common travel scams. One of the most frequent is the taxi scam, where drivers charge exorbitant amounts for a short ride or claim the card machine is not working, forcing payment in cash. Another recurring fraud is overcharging in restaurants and shops, where distracted tourists receive inflated bills or pay for items they never consumed. Additionally, there are the infamous pickpockets, who operate mainly in crowded tourist spots. They take advantage of moments of distraction to steal wallets, passports, and cell phones, leaving the traveler in a difficult situation. Often, these crimes are committed by organized groups, where one member distracts the victim while another performs the theft. Another common scam involves fake tour guides, who offer tours at attractive prices but disappear with the money before the activity even begins. Similarly, there are those who pretend to help the elderly at ATMs, and without them noticing, clone their cards or make fraudulent transactions. So, how to avoid these risks and ensure a safe trip? The first step is limiting the amount of cash carried. Instead of carrying large amounts, it is ideal to use credit or debit cards, preferably with contactless technology to avoid handing them over to third parties. Essential tip is using discreet and secure wallets. Bags with protected zippers, money belts, worn under clothing, and backpacks with anti-theft locks are effective alternatives to make it harder for criminals. Additionally, dividing money and cards into different locations reduces the risk of losing everything in case of theft. When it comes to payments, being wary of suspicious situations is crucial. Always check the amount before entering your card PIN. Avoid accepting help from strangers at ATMs, and verify change when paying in cash are simple precautions that can prevent losses. Regarding transportation, using only trusted services is the best way to avoid taxi scams. Opting for ride-sharing apps, taking taxis only from official stands, and agreeing on the fare before getting in are ways to ensure the price is fair. Additionally, it is essential that the elderly have an emergency contact for unexpected situations. Having the number of a family member or friend saved on the phone, as well as the phone number of the Brazilian embassy in the visited country, can be crucial in case of financial problems or lost documents. Finally, one of the most dangerous scams happens even before the trip begins. Fraud in hotel and flight bookings. Many elderly people fall for traps on fake websites offering irresistible packages, only to disappear once payment is made. To avoid this type of scam, it is essential to book flights and accommodations only on trusted websites and check reviews from other travelers before finalizing any payment. Being a victim of a scam can ruin a trip and cause significant financial loss. But with attention and precaution, it is possible to avoid these traps and ensure that the travel experience is safe and free of scares. The secret lies in being informed, being wary of suspicious situations, and adopting simple protective measures. Now, one last question remains. With so many challenges, is it still worth traveling? And, if so, how to ensure the experience is safe and enjoyable? Traveling after 70 is not just about exploring new places, but about rediscovering life itself. It is a time when every experience becomes even more valuable, where every landscape seen and every culture explored carries a deeper meaning. For many, this phase represents the freedom to make choices that once seemed impossible, without rush, without obligations, just the genuine desire to live unforgettable moments. However, what makes a trip truly enjoyable in old age is not just the destination, but how it is experienced. The journey can be light, enriching, and safe when there is conscious planning. This means understanding your own limits, adapting the pace to the body's reality, and making smart choices to avoid situations that could turn a dream into a problem. Many elderly people believe that traveling means following the same patterns of youth, waking up early, exploring every corner of the place, adventuring without measuring effort. But the truth is that the pleasure of a trip is not in the excess of activities, but in the quality of the experience. The simple act of sitting in a charming cafe and watching the world go by can be as enriching as visiting a famous tourist spot. Enjoying the trip at your own pace is a way to make it more comfortable and meaningful. Additionally, traveling in old age is also an exercise in trust. Trust in yourself, in your ability to adapt, to enjoy, to create new memories. The fear of unforeseen events may be real, but it should not be greater than the desire to live. After all, everything in life involves risks, and the big question is not to avoid them completely, but to learn to minimize them and move forward. For those who wish to continue exploring the world, the secret lies in preparation, choosing accessible destinations, avoiding exhausting itineraries, ensuring medical assistance when needed, and having a support network are factors that make all the difference. But above all, traveling should be an experience that brings happiness. If anxiety outweighs the pleasure, it may be time to reconsider how you travel, and not necessarily give up on traveling. Every trip has a purpose. Some are to celebrate life, others to reconnect with loved ones, and some are made just for the pleasure of changing scenery, breathing new air. No matter the reason, what matters is that the experience is positive, that it brings comfort and good memories. And if, by chance, the body no longer allows for many adventures, there are still incredible ways to explore the world. Technology has brought possibilities once unimaginable. Virtual tours, immersive documentaries, online cultural encounters. Knowledge and the exchange of experiences have never been so accessible. Traveling is not just about being physically in another place, but allowing the mind and heart to be transported to new discoveries. Life at 70 can be full of new discoveries. Traveling with planning ensures stories to remember, without worries.